Thank you for watching in silence while we get ourselves set up. What a morning we had. Thanks everybody for being patient and waiting for me. Sometimes your days just go a little bit sideways instead of forward, and you just gotta go with the flow. That is a trick that I learned long ago from being a mother of many. How are you all doing today? Where's everybody watching from? Leave me a little comment there and let me know where you are watching from today. And have all of you joined our Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group yet? There have been some great pictures posted from those of you who are participating, showing off your projects and the different fabrics you've been using, so please continue to do that. We love seeing your projects and all the beautiful fabrics that you all have. Just in a formal welcome to the, oh, you don't need that, gotcha.
I was like, how is this not usually a problem?
Welcome to our Sparrow Quilt Company mystery summer quilt along. Is it still summer where you are? Oh, you can't see me.
You're good.
We woke up to rain and the news that we are going to have 2 to 3 centimeters of snow overnight and the next 3 days. So it appears as though our summer has come to an end. But it'll be back next week. That's the good news. That white stuff never stays too long if it lands in September, but that's what we get for living in the great white north. So those of you who are just joining us, welcome. My name is Bradie. I'm your host here of the Mystery Summer Sampler Quilt Along. You can see the blocks behind me that we have already done. Our newest block is this one that I'm showing you at the moment. I'm calling this a Snowball'd Ninepatch. A snowball is typically a open space and just the corners are pieced, but this was a 9-patch with the snowball corners, so that's why I named it that. Perhaps this block has another name. It's really hard to search up the name of a traditional quilt block unless you already know its name. So I've been kind of naming blocks as I go that might have other names. Like this block here, I called this one a Mosaic Star, but it turns out that one is called Broken Dishes. Well, I like Mosaic Star, so I'm sticking with my name because I'm just like that. I make my own rules, perhaps some of you have noticed. It's kind of the way I roll. So if you've not yet gotten your pattern, I need you to visit us at sparrowquiltco.com, or you can click the link above this video. You're going to enter your email address and it will start sending you the PDF patterns. We are now on block 9. You can see the prior 8 blocks that we've done here. This quilt is a really great skill builder. If you're just a beginner and you're just learning, this quilt will teach you a lot of skills and just help you really become a good precision piecer, I hope. If you're looking for tips and tricks, make sure you go back and watch all the different videos because I do my best to offer you tips and tricks as we go so that you can increase your skills. Not all of you have taken a formal quilting class, I'm sure. A lot of you are self-taught, so enjoy those tips and tricks that are in the videos, and hopefully that will help you improve your cutting, your piecing, and your precision overall in your quilts. I'm just going to go ahead and pin block 9 up on the wall. We're going to make another one right now. And today I am just going to... Oh, good. It kind of has that shabby chic feel again. I did one the other day that was pretty light, and it's going to match this really, really well. Some of them are bright and bold, some of them are a bit more subtle, and that's okay. That's what makes a quilt more interesting, right? Gives us something to look at, makes it worth checking out, in my opinion. So hopefully you've already gotten your PDF pattern. If not, Landon will be putting it up so that you can download it as well and follow along in the fun. Now, what you're going to notice as we work our way through this block is that I'm using some rulers that you may not be familiar with. This is called the Guidelines for Quilting Rulers. And what makes these rulers unique to our typical 6x12 ruler is that it's got this yellow slider that can move from right to left. And what it does is forms a little barrier on the back side that butts right up against your raw edge of your fabric. So when you make your cuts, you can't displace your ruler. It's really in place effectively. It also has this non-slip edge. Excuse me just a minute, guys. I don't know. Throat just got dry. I think I've been sucking lint into my throat. Can't even help it around here with all the cotton and lint. So as I was saying, this slider stops your ruler from shifting to the right. The non-slip edge stops your ruler from shifting to the left. So we are literally held in place by those two little features that are on this ruler. You can see I've also added this great little handle. I love this handle. I switch it now to the other rulers that I'm using because it's just so easy to lift that ruler up rather than trying to pry at the edge of it with my fingernail. So I'm really enjoying these rulers, and I'm also really liking the finished size quilting add-ons. These are the Seam Allowance rulers. So what I do is I decide how wide my fabric is going to be, and then I add the seam allowance with the rulers. So when we look at our blocks, the one we're doing this week in particular, I know that I want my block to finish at 12 inches. I know that that block is divided into 3 columns. So 3 divided by 12, I know each one of these columns is going to be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to set my slider at the 4-inch mark. And I leave it there. I just keep it at the 4 inches. Then I'm going to add the appropriate seam allowance based on the shape I'm cutting. So if I'm cutting squares or rectangles, like you see through the center here, I'm going to add on the seam allowance ruler that's marked with an S for square, and it says at this end that it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If I'm going to be working on triangles, like you see in the outer corners of this block, I need to add on my 1/2 square triangle seam allowance, and it is labeled with an H, and it has a seam allowance of 0.854. That's an interesting number, right? Doesn't exist on our rulers, does it? There's no way that we could set our typical ruler to cut a 0.854. So that's where the real benefit of these rulers comes into play, because we don't have to make our triangles big and then trim them down. We can cut them the exact size that we need, which means when we piece it together, it will finish the exact size that we need, and we are saving ourselves steps. We don't need to do the extra marking, we don't need to do the extra trimming, and we don't need to square it up to the proper size afterwards. It is a real time saver, and it helps me be really precise, which just makes me look good, and I like that. So let's get cutting out this block, shall we? Like I said, I'm going to use the same colors today. I don't always do that, but sometimes when there's a lot going on, you just need an easy day, right? And my brain is just racing because we've got so much fabric in this week. It's literally in boxes. I can't even open it right now because I'm so busy with other stuff. And my heart is just broken for all those beautiful fabrics that are boxed up that I cannot touch and play with. Drama queen, right here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, at least all the Robert Kaufman that came in. Yeah, I've got those up all on the website, and the dinos, the safari, and the coordinates. Sorry, just a little side conversation here. Lannon's asking me if I want to do an unboxing. They're already out of the boxes, but maybe we'll just do a little video after this to show you that whole new set of fabrics that just came in, and maybe we'll give you a tiny little peek at the other stuff. I don't like showing you stuff that you can't find on the website, because then you feel frustrated that you can't find those items and disappointed that I am talking about stuff that you can't access. So it's a double-edged sword. Shall we get cutting here, guys? Quit the yapping and get to work. So what I need to cut today are 4 pink squares, and they are going to be 4 inches finished. So I've got my ruler set at the 4-inch mark, and I'm going to take my square seam allowance add-on. And don't forget to lick those little sucker cups, because they stick much better if you put a little bit of moisture on them. Maybe you don't want to lick them. Maybe you can just wet your finger. I just stick them in my mouth. You know, you've probably done it a million times. And these little levers are going to lock it in place. I just give them a quarter turn and press down on those suction cups, and that holds my ruler add-on in place. So now I'm going to line up the 4 with my raw edge of fabric, and I'm going to trim right along this edge. Do you guys want to know what my tip of the day is today? I want you to think back, way back, and try and recall, when was the last time you changed the blade on your rotary cutter? Have you been helping it along by maybe cutting twice, kind of giving it a bit of a crutch by, making that extra cut and going back and getting those threads that didn't quite sever through? If you are not getting through all your layers, or if you're getting little threads that aren't cut, it is time to change your rotary blade. You need to change it more often than you think so that you are being efficient and so that you're getting a nice, clean cut. Now remember, those blades can stick together really well. Make sure you're only putting one on. One time we had a blade that was performing quite odd, and it turned out we had put 2 blades on one rotary cutter. So it was cutting all these double lines. It was doing twice the work. Good girl, Jamie. 2 days. For ages, we were going through rotary blades like there was no tomorrow, and we could not figure out what was going on. And so one day I was at work a little bit late, and Dylan, our nephew, was trimming a quilt, and I heard this thunk. He just kept going. He had reached the end of the cutting mat and kept going on the bare table surface, and it was dulling all the blades. They would all get this flat spot. So we had a little talk about the best way to use your rotary cutters. It's not on the flat table, that's for sure. All right, so hopefully you'll all change your rotary blades so you're getting nice sharp cuts, and remember to engage the safety guard so that you're not leaving your raw edge blade exposed. Good girl. Closer to the edge of the table. Yes, I can. Okay. I want you changing your needles on your machines often as well. All right, how many of those do we need to cut? 4, right? So I have got my salvages here, and I've got the fold of the fabric. I'm just going to trim all that off together. My fabric is folded into 4 layers at the moment, so I'll just trim off this edge, and then I can cut my 4 squares in one go. Just get the job done. All right, so I've now got 4 squares that measure 4.5 inches. So we'll just set those aside. This pink can go back in the bin. And next we're going to, sorry, my printer wasn't working, so I couldn't print this off. I'm not playing on my phone, I swear. I'm just checking my instructions. Fabric 2 is our white background, and we are going to cut, remember to cut your triangles first because they're wider, and then you can take that piece and trim it down if you need. So we are going to cut 2 squares at 4 inches plus our half square triangle ruler. I'm going to put my quarter square away because I don't need it today. And I also don't need to make any mistakes. Cut things the wrong size. So now I'm adding on my half square triangle ruler add-on. It's the one with the 0.854 seam allowance. I'm just going to pop that on there, swing the levers, engage those suction cups. Now I am getting down to the itty bitty scraps and pieces. So as long as they are wide enough, it's going to work for you. Let's see, how wide is this one?
Heather says she changed her blade a couple weeks ago before she starts her latest project, and will change the needle this weekend when she gets to start quilting.
Perfect. Ooh, yes, definitely change your needle before you get into that quilting process.
It feels so much nicer when you,
Yeah, it's so worth it. I was researching the price of needles because I know on the just off the top of my head, I know for long arm needles, they're about 70 cents each. So it was surprising to me that when I buy my bulk needles, I buy them in 100 packs, and they work out to about $1 a piece. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, if you factor in $1 to every single project, it's pretty minimal if you think about it. $1 per needle for each new project. Don't get me wrong, I would probably use the same needle through a couple of baby quilts, but You know, if I was piecing with any sort of minky or something with any polyester in it, I would definitely change it with every project, because that's going to dull your needle a little bit faster than just flat cottons are. But I think it's a very minimal investment to just include with the price of your quilt project, just so that you get good results, right? So that things go the way you want them to. So what I wanted to offer you guys is, if anybody wants me to order them in the bulk packs of needles, I use the Schmetz. I can bring them in quilting size 11. That's what I use for piecing. If I'm doing any top stitching through quilting, free motion quilting or whatever, then I would use a 14 or a 16. So that is something I'd like to offer you guys. If you're interested, shoot us a message here on the Facebook page, and I will get that item up on the website. My distributor's right here in town. I can get them no time at all. But if you're interested in the big 100 pack of needles so that you can save a little bit of money, shoot us a message and I will get back to you shortly. Giveaway today, I think we're going to do the add-ons. Thank you for the reminder. So we always do a giveaway. My brain is out today. We always do a giveaway. What I ask is that you share this video. Under the video, you'll see the options to like, comment, and share. If you share this video, come back and comment, say that you shared. And at the end of the show, I'm going to give away a set of the finished size seam allowance rulers. Now, the good thing is that you can use these on your regular 6x12, Olfa, OmniGrid, Fiskars, whatever type of ruler you have at home. They attach with only suction cups if I send you that version. And so you will be able to use them regardless of the brand of your ruler. It doesn't have to be my Guidelines rulers. Although I think you would really like to own that Guideline ruler as well. So I have got my slider set at the 4. I've added my half square triangle seam allowance ruler. I'm now going to slice, and I need 2 squares. Then I'll cut them on the diagonal to yield 4 triangles. Now that strip, I don't know what width that strip was, so I need to turn it and just make sure that it's the right size the other direction as well. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit scrappy now with all these leftovers. So I'm kind of making it work. I'm at that stage of my fabric in this quilt. Now we're going to go all the way up to 12 blocks. So yes, we'll finish in early fall, but then we've got another mystery sampler coming after that, and it's a real pretty one. One of my favorite quilts I've ever made. Yeah, I think we figured it would be 4. Now we need a single square with the square add-on. So I'm going to remove this doodad, put my square back on. Swing those out, push that down. Trim off that there, and let's give it a turn, because I suspect this is not the right distance the other direction. Am I too far out? Probably. All right, so there's my square and my white triangles. Now I also have to cut 2 blue squares and make them into triangles as well. Hopefully this is wide enough for me. I got to remember to change back to my half square triangle ruler. I don't want to cut these the wrong width. And I'll have to stomp my feet and pout and cry. Typical Bradie fashion. All right, that is just the right width, so I'm going to leave that. And let's cut off our 2 squares. Are you guys going to join us for our auction on Saturday? We got a live online auction that we'll be doing. We got a ton of fat quarters in, so we're going to bundle those up and put them up for auction on Saturday. Now our auction is not your typical auction. The prices drop as we go, not raise. So that's kind of nice. You can get yourself some really great deals, and there's some really beautiful fabrics. So make sure you join us 10:30 a.m. on Saturday. And on Friday, we'll be starting our new Stash Busters as well. So there you can see I cut my 2 squares, turned it on the diagonal and sliced through it. Now I've got 4 triangles. So let's lay this out now and have a peek. It should look just like the one I already made. Put all my scraps in the right spot first. You guys, Landon brought in this chocolate chili chai tea that she got at David's Tea. So yummy. With our lovely weather, I've needed a bit of a warm me up. And I quit drinking coffee about a month ago, so tea is now my best friend.
Marianne said that she bought those titanium blades.
Oh, titanium needles?
Blades.
Blades. Oh. Yeah, we got some of those too. They were really sharp. I didn't pay much attention to the longevity, though. I should have. That would have been smart.
Founder says it's beautiful fabric on the Saturday auction.
Yeah, there's some really gorgeous stuff. It's all brand new fabric that we've never had before, so it's exciting to us still too.
You don't normally do that for
Yeah, auctions we are usually clearing out fabric that we've had for a while. This stuff we brought in specifically for the auction for you guys, so all new, fun, exciting stuff. All right, so there you can see my pretty little block. And I am going to sew my half square triangle units together first, then I'll join my rows together next, and then join the rows to one another. So, what was I going to say? Hopefully you've been watching all along, but if you've just joined us, then welcome. My name is Bradie. If you would like access to the free patterns so that you can make all the blocks behind me, you're going to visit us at the link above this video or at sparrowquiltco.com, where you can enter your email address and we will send you a PDF pattern of all the prior weeks. And you can also check out all the prior videos that we've done so that you can learn any of the tips and tricks that we've offered throughout this process. If you'd like to win our prize today, which is a package of the add-on seam allowance rulers, you're going to share this video and then come back and comment that you have shared. So let's go ahead and stitch these up.
Heather says she wishes she could participate in the auction, but ran out of 2 things, all quilters need space and money.
Aw, ran out of space and money. That is a bit of a deterrent. But don't worry, we do the auctions all the time, so you can tune in when you're in a better spot. I'm just going to do all 4 at the same time and be a bit more efficient. Hopefully, that's always my plan. And then we'll get these all pressed and we can put our block together. It's a nice, simple, quick little block today. You can see them all behind me. Some of them are a little bit more labor intensive, but none of them are difficult. They're all pretty straightforward. Of course, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm really looking forward to starting the new Stash Busters quilt on Friday. I'm going to do it in the new Christmas line that just arrived. It's so cute. It's called Christmas Delivery, and it's got all these little delivery trucks, and it's very, it's traditional with its red and green, but it's got some black in it too, which is not as traditional, but it goes really well, and it's just beautiful. It's a Riley Blake line. There we are. Today I decided to bust out one of the Woolly Felted Wonders pressing mats and give that a try. scoot this over just a wee bit. So this is my Woolly Felted Wonders mat. It is made of wool, and it's just very, it's felted, so it's very dense. And it's 1/2 inch thick, so it says that it's safe on any surface. Of course, don't put it on top of your rotary cutting mat because any sort of heat is going to distort that and make it warp. So you don't want to set this on top of your cutting mat, but it should be fine on any table surface. And these are specific to the ones that are 1/2 inch thick. Some of them are a bit thinner, and they're designed to be used on an ironing board. So make sure that you read the information that comes with your Woolly Felted Wonders mat if you purchase one. But what? Mom's allergic to wool? Aw, that's too bad. We had a lady buy one, and she is allergic to wool, and she's not had any troubles. However, I'm not advising you purchase it if you are allergic. She just really, really wanted it, so.
Brenda would like to know the block size.
The finished block size, Brenda, is going to be 12 inches, so 12.5 with the seam allowance. And the good thing about these PDF patterns is that I also included the info that you will need for cutting with regular rulers. So you don't necessarily have to own the guidelines rulers to participate in this quilt along. It just makes it a little bit easier for you. Just bought one today? The woolly. Cool. Let me know how you like it. I hope you love it. I'm liking mine. All right. I've got all my little half square triangle units put together, so now I'm going to put them back where they belong. Let's just rearrange everything a smidge. Oh, so broken over. These colors are just so pretty. I love that soft pink. All right, so now I'm just going to start joining these together in rows. I'll join these sets of 2 first, and then I'll put them back and I'll join the 3rd in each row. I feel like a little shrimpy today. My chair's a bit low. Raise the table, but I don't want to mess with the view. So I'm just going to pretend I'm a tiny little girl sewing at my mommy's machine. All right. Such a quick, simple block today. Simple is good sometimes. Sometimes you just need an easy day. Anybody else ever feel like that? I just need an easy day today. I'm just relieved at the moment that everybody's jackets fit still from last fall, because when you got a big crew like mine, there's a lot of shopping to do. All right, so I want to alternate the direction of piecing so that everything nests together nicely. The top row I'm going to press to the center. The middle row I'm going to press out to the outer blocks. Bottom row to the center again. So it will be towards the pink fabric each time you're pressing. And I guess it's possible that you're using different colors from me, and that's fine. I'll allow that. Have you shared the video, guys? Make sure you share and then come back and tell us that you've shared. And that makes sure that we include you when we draw a name. No questions today, pretty quiet in the question department. All right, so now we'll just add that third block in each row. We're going to be done this before you know it, guys. We actually had the radio station in this morning. We're pondering a radio station ad, and that's what caused us to miss the morning. So if you've not yet changed your rotary blade, then you go ahead and do it. Try to remember, when was the last time you did it? Probably can't even recall, right? I like to buy them in a 10-pack so that I've always got them. Buy everything in bulk, you know, needles, rotary blades. Then you're never stuck without a backup plan. Okay, perfect. Our rows are complete, and now we can join them to one another. Just trimming my threads as I go, because that's the kind of girl I am. And we're pressing to the darker fabric. This would make a beautiful baby quilt, these colors. I'm actually getting really excited to wrap this one up so I can start the next one. Do you ever get bored of projects? Yes, I know you all do. It's not even boredom, it's just anticipation of the next one. I've got to force myself to stay focused. Finish one thing at a time. Oh, that would be really pretty. It's like a little bow tie.
That looks like the next quilt. Look, the quilt shoe.
That looks like what?
A quilt shoe.
Oh, yeah, the ballerinas and bows.
It's really different. It's like folded.
Oh, yes. Yep.
I think they're little bows.
All right. So there's my 3 rows. I'm now going to line up those seams. Today I'm just going to use my fork pins because they're fast. Being speedy is a good thing sometimes, especially when you're impatient. Really impatient. Just remember, if you're going to sew over pins, to take your time. Don't need any broken needles flying up, causing you grief. Okay, slowing down to stitch over that pin. There we go. Line up that last little bit. Taking my own advice and finishing strong so that nothing gets mucked up. Keep my little fork pins handy. So Landon just asked me what that advice was. I had a block, I think it was this one here. I have a little bit of extra width right here. So I started with a strong 1/4 inch and it got a wee bit narrower here. And that gave me just a little bit of a wave there. So that block does not lay entirely flat. It's not the end of the world, but it's just a reminder to myself to finish strong and not let that last little bit of the seam go astray. Yep. Even us so-called experts have mistakes. All right, I'm just lining up those seams, and I've got my seams going in opposite directions so that they just kiss right in the seam. I'm just making sure those two fabrics touch, and then that makes my points line up really, really well. My intersections line up really nicely. Because I really like my piecing to be precise. I really think it's worth the effort, but I'm also not going to kill myself trying. How many of you hold your threads to the back of your machine when you begin stitching? Yeah. And it says it's a good habit. I always hold them to the back of the machine because I find when my machine starts stitching, just the movement can pull the thread and then it can yank it right out of your needle, or